Okay, we are live. Welcome to Chords and Chaos. How are you today?
Great. How are you?
Not too bad, minus my computer, screwing up a little bit, but other than that, we got it fixed. Shout out to
Absolutely.
shout out to Kevin from Poet the Band because he's technical guy. If you don't know who they are, I definitely recommend checking out Poet the Band. They're super awesome guys. I love Kevin. I love Aiden. Super cool.
Yes, people too.
Yes, ma'am. How are you today? Doing all right?
Yeah, it's been a really busy day. I had an appointment this morning and I grabbed lunch on the way back from it. So uh now I'm set. I'm ready to talk about music. I'm
I feel
chilling.
you.
Yeah. How about you?
I'm not too bad. Just been running off of coffee all day. Gotta have that caffeine.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm addicted.
So here we go. Can you introduce yourselves and tell us a bit about your band's history?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started with Sales Ahead as a bedroom project. We're actually technically a really old band.
Oh,
Started it in 2013.
okay.
And what happened was I made a demo and took some time to find like-minded musicians who wanted to play the exact same music as me, which was really hard. I
Right.
specifically wanted to play post-hardcore, but like a lot of New Jersey where I'm from is like hardcore, pop punk, metalcore, and post-hardcore I find like dances in the middle of all
Right.
of that. It took years, but we finally solidified the lineup in 2017 after a couple revolving members. And
Okay.
we have a few EPs out. And last year, we released our debut record, Infinite Void, which was self recorded and produced by our guitarist and
Uh-huh.
mixed by August Axelson and mastered by Chris Crummett. So that's like the thing we've really been pushing
Y'all
for.
did a fantastic job on that album, by the way. Like, I've listened to it so many times, and there's not a single song that you're skipping. Like, it's an album
Thank
that you can
you.
play from start to finish, and you're definitely not skipping a song.
I
Like, with
really
some,
appreciate that.
right, with some albums, like you'll hear a couple songs, you'll be like, okay, these are bangers, and then there'll be a couple you're like, nah, and you'll skip one, but not with that album for sure.
I'm really glad that that's what you think because we worked really hard for that. I appreciate
Right.
it.
No, it's a great album. I love it. And I can't wait for you to send me the album over. And
Yes, will do.
I'm gonna share that with the homies for sure.
Thank you.
So how did you all meet and decide to form a band?
So Joe grabbed one of my demos that I used to pass out at shows from a table. I did merch for a friend's band, and they would let me leave like a stack of demos on their table so that like people could come up and like if I had the opportunity to chat about like what I
Right.
was doing, like I'd
Mm-hmm.
be like, oh, by the way, I'm looking for bandmates if you might be interested in this music. So I had a stack of CDs and people would grab them and Joe, who is the second oldest member of Sales Ahead, like grabbed one of the CDs and they were like, "Oh, yeah, I'm into this." And then they reached out. So that was Joe. Santino, the other guitarist in our band, we met him through Facebook. I grabbed people from all over. Santino was a Facebook music group find.
That's awesome though.
Yeah, Jamie, our bassist, we found her on Craigslist.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she was Craigslist. And our former drummer, we found him like that was the one connection that was like friend of a friend.
Right.
So like we literally all only know each other because of this band.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of, and it's wild you said that because, like, what I was telling you with Poet the Band, like how they formed is two of them live in Tennessee, in Johnson City, Tennessee. The rest of the band lives in Detroit, Michigan, or somewhere in
Oh
that area.
wow.
So they don't even see each other unless they're playing, live together. And they all formed, like you said, through Facebook and whatnot. And they were looking for drummers. They found Kevin, and then they had a couple, issues with guys not working out. So luckily they finally found a group to set on, but I was like,
Hmm.
how the fuck do y'all do it, with being in different cities?
I know. Honestly, like I can believe it. Like at this point, I think the only prerequisite for like like starting a band with somebody is like making sure that like, they're like as motivated as you, because
Yeah,
if you have
exactly.
that, nothing else matters.
Right.
But also the financial aspect. So that
Right.
I really give it to bands who make it work across state lines, or
Hmm.
coast to coast. But it's possible. I mean, so much of the music community is on the internet these days. Like
Hmm.
you can completely establish yourselves before even
Right.
playing a show. Anything is possible.
I missed the MySpace days. Like that was how we found like all our bands back in the day.
Yep,
And
MySpace, Pure Volume.
yep.
Yep.
And what was the other one? Dat Piff. Like if you
I
remember
did
Dat
not
Piff.
frequent. I remember it, but I did not frequent it. But I
Yeah.
remember.
I would
Rest in
download
peace.
so many albums, and then of course LimeWire.
Oh
Sorry,
yeah. Oh
mom, for
yeah.
screwing up your computer.
Yeah. If I had a nickel for every single time I thought I was downloading like the Ali and AJ album, it was actually that Bill Clinton fake out recording.
Yeah.
My fellow Americans.
So, what's the story behind your band's name?
Do you know the band Lower Definition?
Yeah.
That is a lyric in their song Miami Nights. I'm not good at naming stuff. I'm not good at naming stuff. I just ripped it from the song. And to be quite honest, Lower Definition is the impetus for our band's existence. I was listening to a lot of post-hardcore metalcore, like rise core stuff in like 2010,
Right.
2011. But somebody put me on. They're like, have you checked out Lower Definition? Because you've got to do that if you haven't. And I was like, okay. And it changed my life because to me it was nothing like anything I heard at that point. And
Right.
to me, in my opinion, still in this day, no one comes close at all.
Right.
And I was like, I want to do something that is so different, that like challenges what the boundaries of post-hardcore is. So that I was like, yeah, this feels
Right.
like
Right.
serendipitous.
It feels right.
Yeah.
I got you.
My only regret is that it's super nautical sounding, so people think we're like pop punk or that we're really into like boat stuff. That is not the case.
I'm not gonna lie. When I first heard the name, I did think it was like a pop punk band. I was like, these are gonna be some pop punk, which is fine with me because I like pop punk too. You know.
Mm-hmm. I know, like
I listen to
love
everything.
it. Yeah, I listen to everything, but like it's not what I align with this
Right.
band. So I'm just like, I've also been asked if I would change the name, and I was like, nah, I don't think we can at this point.
Like my dad's from the Bronx, so I grew up, you know, on like some like classical jazz. I grew up on,
Awesome.
you know, smooth jazz type shit, and then Bob Marley, of course, the Beatles. Because I'm adopted, so my dad's 83. So, and everybody's like, dude, it must suck with your father being that old. I was like, dude, I'm gonna know stuff in life that you will probably never reach, you know, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool learning new bands and old bands and shit like that. And then of course my mom's from Georgia, where I'm from, so I grew up on country music as well. As bad as that sounds, but I like some country music, you know.
I mean, like Faith Hill, like I loved her when I was a kid, and like
awesome.
Shania Twain and Leanne Rhymes is kind of like pop country before pop country was a thing.
You know who Deanna Carter is?
That's really familiar.
She sings Strawberry Wine.
I think I heard
Strawberry Wine, 17, hot July moon.
I probably would know it if I had heard a little
I'm terrible
more.
at putting lyrics
No,
together,
you're
too.
fine. No, I got a good gist of the melody, but I'm like, all right, maybe I don't know. I probably heard it.
Yeah, she was awesome though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what inspires your music and what themes do you explore in your songs?
Well, the music instrumentally is inspired by Lower Definition, as I said. Closure in Moscow, Chan, Protest the Hero, a good blend of like bona fide post-hardcore bands and also prog metal. Math rock too.
Yeah, math rock for sure.
At this point, like we have 20 different influences, but I would say that like the main ones are like Chan, Protest the Hero, and Closure in Moscow. And then like for me personally, like Circa Survive, and couple I'm not thinking of right now, but lyrically, I have anxiety. I have undiagnosed anxiety, so I'm like 75% sure that I have it.
Me too.
I feel like when you just know, you're like no one else behaves or thinks this way. Like,
Right.
yeah. So when you know. But
That's like me earlier. Like I said, my FN lock got stuck, and I'm sitting here like freaking out. I was like, "Damn, I'm not going to be able to do this
oh yeah.
podcast with her. I've been waiting on this one for a while because your band is so awesome." I was like, "I really want to talk to her. Please, somebody help me out." And thank God Kevin knew what the hell he was doing. So I was like,
Absolutely came in at the 11th hour.
"Yeah." I was
for
like,
sure.
"Yo, Kevin, you're the man, bro."
Shout
And
out
then I
Kevin.
called him right back because the keyboard went away, and I was like, "Shit, how do I get it back?" And then I called him right back. He was like, "Let me guess, the keyboard disappeared." I was like, "Yeah, yeah."
He just knew that's how
He was
good he
like, "I
is.
got you, bro." He was like, "Stop freaking out. I got you." I was like,
Mhm.
"Okay." He was like, "I know you struggle with anxiety." I was like, "Bro, you don't even know. My heart is beating out of my chest right now."
Oh yeah, because everything is like you're good. This is the end. This is like
Right.
I'm a failure.
Yeah,
But
right.
it's
You're
not.
like,
It's not.
ah.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of stuff about anxiety. Some autobiographical stuff. A lot of the stuff at Infinite Void is like feeling like the world is ending, which
Right.
it is an analogy for anxiety, but like it is it's a very vague light social commentary as well, because
Yeah.
like that does kind of feel like it feels like that's where we're headed. I don't
Now,
want
do
it to
you?
be. I'm like a ominous optimist, I
Right.
guess you could say, but like yeah, shit's weird.
Now, do
So
you suffer from stage fright real bad or no?
I I was trying to explain this to somebody the other day. I love being on stage, and like
Uh-huh.
my fright isn't so much around like physically being on stage and looking out into a crowd of people as
Right.
it is like, okay, I gotta hit this 1000%. Like
Uh-huh.
I can't fail. So like um I do a little bit, but like once I'm up there I'm fine, which is like the
Yeah, I
weirdest
feel you.
phenomenon. Like there are things that like I am very scared to do. I still hate, to a degree, I still
Mhm.
hate making phone calls. I'm getting over it, but it's not there's some things that like I'm definitely afraid to do, but
Right.
people are like, okay, but like you'll go on stage in front of 200 people, and I was like, yeah, that's fun. Like what are
Yeah,
you
that's
talking
fun.
about?
Like, I'm not having anxiety there. I'm doing something I love.
Yeah, exactly. So
So,
there's like
I get you.
little things that like create that like very negative thought pattern in your head, like that can make you scared to get on stage. I certainly have that.
Right.
And like also physically, like I get the butterflies every single time. Doesn't matter like where we're playing, how many times we played there, if I'm playing in front of like a lot of people or five, like your heart starts to churn in your stomach. Like no, like for me, no
Right.
matter what.
That's
But
how it is for me with podcasts. Like, every time I go into a new podcast, I'm like, am I asking the right questions? Am I asking good questions? Are they logically good questions, you know?
yeah, well, that
So,
just means that you care.
right.
If you didn't get that sensation, then it's like, and your brain isn't like, we need to be concerned about
Right.
this, then maybe it's a sign,
You
but
know
that's a
who's
good
one of
thing.
my big inspirations? Have you
Who is
ever
that?
heard of Nardwar?
Oh yeah, yeah, I know Narwhal. Yeah.
I would love to be like Nardwar. Like, he's a weird little dude, but he's got so much information on people that just blows your mind. Like, he had one with Mac Miller, like before
Mm.
Mac died, and he was just pulling out all kinds of albums on Mac, and Mac was like, "How the hell do you even know this about me, dude? Like,
Yeah,
you
it's
knew
so
my
sick.
middle school name, and you knew this about me." I was
Mhm.
like, "Yeah, that'd be kind of cool," but I don't really want to dive that deep into people, I guess, and be like,
Mhm.
"Yo, do you remember your middle school band? They were called Rock Your Socks Off or something, you know?"
I know, because you're gonna be like, I need to go through my internet history again.
Right.
Like, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Let's see. What inspires your music and what themes? Did I ask that? Yeah, I did. Who are some of your biggest musical influences, and how do they impact your sound?
I would say like in regards to this genre, definitely Anthony Green. Um,
Yeah.
Anthony Green's vocals are definitely a huge inspiration in the way that I write my melodies and sing. and the way I've shaped my voice over the years. Besides him though, honestly, like it's a lot of pop music. And
Right.
like when I was growing up, I listened to a lot of Michelle Branch and Avril Lavigne
Great
and like
artist.
thank you. Yeah, just a lot of women singer songwriters and like
Right.
I like have written a lot of songs and like I always focus on like catchiness. Like that's a big
Right.
priority for me. Um so like not only am I thinking about like Anthony Green and a lot of post-hardcore vocalists, but I'm thinking about pop like Ariana Grande, Kalani, um, and like trying to meld that with what we do instrumentally.
Have you ever heard of Cassidy Pope
Oh yeah. Hey
from Hey
Monday.
Monday? Yeah.
I have photos of me at Six Flags Great Adventure, like screaming my head off while they're playing candles. Like,
When I bring her up, nobody knows who the hell I'm
are you?
talking about.
Oh my
Yeah.
God! Open the schools.
Right. I'm like, yo, y'all gotta go back and listen to some Hey Monday because she's fantastic.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What is her new band called?
She's not doing a band right now. She's actually on Broadway.
That's right.
But yeah, otherwise she released a really great solo album last year.
Hmm.
And outside of Hey Monday has just been like doing things on her own.
Yeah.
Yeah, but love her.
Yeah, she's fantastic for sure.
Yeah.
Can you walk us through your songwriting process?
Yes. It has changed a lot throughout the years. What it was previously was that our guitarist Joe would bring us an instrumental and we'd all just write to it. The song would start with them, and then Santina would throw his riffs in, Jamie would throw her riffs in. I would like write lyrics over the demos.
Right.
And that was for the most part how we were writing. But a song on What If I Fall, that one song on the record was like the first time we had written something collaboratively, all 5 of us in one room.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, why don't we do this more often? And I guess we know why, because sometimes you can't force creativity. Just getting in a room is not enough.
Right.
But it's like also like, okay, well, let's just try. And so from that point forward, everything has been more collaborative. So like an idea will start with like one of us and in a guitar tab, like a Guitar Pro tab, and we'll pass it around, or we'll like get together in person and we'll finish it together.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes.
I like that.
Yeah. So like some ideas will still start with one of us, but like we try to make it more of a group project. Like more so than it was before.
Yeah, I like those little videos that y'all put together, like where you went to Buc-ee's and you were trying to find the different hot sauces and all that. Because I know you're a hot sauce freak.
Oh yeah.
Which I am too. I had a buddy that was actually making them. They were called felony sauce, and he was making all kinds of different ones. And he had one that was like a pineapple habanero.
Yum.
It had actual pineapples and actual habaneros in it. It was so good.
That's awesome. That's a great flavor
combination. Man, it would blow you up. That was for sure. Like it'd make you hurt.
Worth it.
Like this is good though.
Yeah.
Let's see. What's your approach to recording, and do you have a preferred studio or producer?
So we used to go to studios. We don't anymore, and that is mostly out of financial necessity.
Right.
Right now, our process is Joe is our engineer and producer. So we'll go to wherever they're living, and we'll track everything ourselves and produce it. I'm gonna be real with you. It's not really a secret, like if you dig for it. Right. But the drums on Infinite Void are programmed. Previously, we just like our old drummer would work with Joe to write the drum parts, and then we program them using Get Good. But going forward, we're gonna start tracking the drums. We're still gonna do it ourselves, but we'll get a room and we'll track the drums, and they'll be live with some things sampled.
Right.
And then everything else we'll do direct. We have Jamie and Joe own Quad Cortexes. So like we can get whatever amp sims we want. Like there's so much we can just do digitally. So we'll start with drums and then do guitars, including bass, and then I come in at the tail end, and then we'll do any production stuff.
That's awesome. let's see. Can you tell us about your experience working with? Never mind. Hold on. We'll skip that one.
Are
How
you
do you
sure?
balance? Yeah, how do you balance the creative and technical aspects of recording?
That's actually more of a Joe question. But I guess what can I speak to here? So this is actually stumping me a little bit because um Joe is ironically like so they're like the more theory brained, like
Right.
technical brain of the band, and like Jamie and Santino are like somewhere in the middle. I'm like I do whatever I write, I do it because it sounds good, and like
Hmm.
I want to evoke a certain feeling, and I'm thinking about like I think like we all think about like the end product and the end product, but
Right.
like I obsess over it. So what can be really challenging is like really communicating and getting on the same page about
Mm.
what our vision is. So like uh typically, especially in like a vocal setting,
Right.
um if Joe is engineering and producing a session that we're doing vocally, like I will do something, and uh they will make suggestions that are like I think you should pronounce it more like this, or like they'll like kind of challenge my creative choices, and
Right.
like
Right.
I'll not argue, but we kind of go back and forth, and like sometimes if it makes sense, like we'll change something. I've
Right.
changed lyrics on the fly, or like had to leave and come back with something new, different melodies,
Hmm.
just because like we want to do whatever serves the song best.
Right.
So there can definitely like there's sometimes challenges that don't even come up until you're like in the session and there's no way to
Right.
plan for it. Um and then like other than that, like guitar wise, like I think a challenge for everybody else is like writing parts that they can play live, because we
Yeah,
get really
for sure.
excited in this like when we're tracking stuff, and then we're like, holy shit, we have to play this for like a week in a row, like 7 days in a row. Like those are things that like it's like a challenge in the studio and then a challenge outside of the studio when the songs
Right.
become real and tangible to other people. So there's probably other things that I'm not thinking of or able to speak to because
No, you're
you know,
good.
but
That
yeah,
was all great answers.
thanks.
I will say, a lot of people didn't know this. You've obviously heard of Silverstein. Did you
That's
know
my
that?
Oomfie. Gene Tool.
That's my
Yeah.
favorite band in the world. Like I'm
Is it
going to
really?
see
That's
them in
awesome.
yep, I'm going to see them in April on their 25th anniversary tour.
That's
I bought
amazing.
I bought the limited edition windbreaker. I bought the
Stick.
limited edition what do you call it, shoulder bag. So I got those. And
Nice.
my youngest nephew, every time I wear it, he's 11. He goes, "Look, Uncle Z has a purse. He's got a purse
Nah.
now." So I'm like, "Dude, leave me alone." He's like, "Well, you carry your purse everywhere." He's like, "Do you have your makeup in there?" I was like, "Dude, I'm gonna strangle you."
He's gotta recognize game. He'll understand one day.
Right.
For
But
me, yeah. Yeah, it's like
anyway, with the song "My Heroine," they weren't originally gonna ever release that song. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Shane was the only one on board when he wrote My Heroine to make it work. And he kept telling them, he was like, "Yo, this is gonna be a hit. This is gonna be a hit." And they were like, "No, it's not. No, it's not." And he was like, "You know what? I'm the lead singer of this band. Fuck it. I'm gonna write this song and I'm gonna do what I want. And y'all are gonna learn how to play the guitar riffs and whatnot." And
Mm.
he said that everybody was like, "No, no, no." And he was like, "Yeah, we're going for this." And he said, "I put it on the album." And he said, "Thank God I did, because it turned out, to be one of their biggest songs,
Oh
not
yeah.
their biggest song."
Oh yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so I like that about them.
Yeah, that's our guitarist Joe. Like they got into Silverstein like a couple years ago. Like
Uh
they're
huh.
kind of going through their emo phase now. Like
Right.
as opposed to like when they were younger, they were raised on prog. So
Right.
like a few years ago, they started getting to like Silverstein and Thursday and
Uh
Thrice,
huh.
and so that's been really cool, especially having now that inclusion in our songwriting process. That like that context,
Right.
for
Right.
sure.
For sure.
Yeah,
Starting to get that emo phase. I feel you.
yeah.
I've been an elder emo since like '04. So
Hmm.
I grew up on Hawthorne Heights, of course, Silverstein, Funeral for a Friend, which
Nice.
nobody knows who they are.
I know of them. I've never listened to their music, but like that's a
Listen
big
to the
band.
song "Roses for the Dead."
Okay.
Probably one of the best songs you can find lyrically and guitar wise. Like the
Nice.
guitar for that song is just insane. Like,
Hmm.
it'll blow your mind. And have you ever heard of Grapevine Gossip?
I know them. I've chatted with somebody in that band. Like
Yeah,
once or
that's
twice.
actually my guest for next week. And
Nice.
when I found them through you guys' band, because I
Hmm.
searched on, obviously on Spotify, when it comes up, it gives you a list of related bands. And they came up, and you know what? I started listening to them, and I was like, oh my God, they're really similar. They're really good. Let me reach out to them and see if I can do a podcast with them. And sure enough, he was like, yo, dude, we'll do it.
Nice.
So I'm excited for that one as well. Let's see here. What's your favorite part about performing live, and what do you enjoy most about connecting with your audiences?
I think playing live.
Hold on, I'm plugging in my laptop real quick.
Okay.
I didn't know it came unconnected. Sorry, I
Okay.
interrupt you.
You're fine. Playing live, I guess. It just feels really great to be up there. It just kind of feels like what I meant to do. I don't know how to explain this without like sounding insane. Like I dreamed as a kid of like being a singer, and
Right.
like we're doing it. Like and then I always wanted to be in a band. I've always wanted to be in a band with like friends and
Right.
make a lot of memories and go on adventures on the road. And that's what I really love about it. I love being on like big stages and little stages and like meeting new folks at gigs. Like it's what's been really wild in the last year, and this is before last year, this just was not the case too often, at least.
Right.
But like people, like when they sing the words back to me, like that's a really new thing for us. We've been a band forever.
Right,
But,
like when people actually know the lyrics and they're vibing.
It's mind blowing. So
Right.
so yeah, that, and like I think, and like what's made it really worth it is like when people come to talk to us before or after the set, and they're like, I like have been listening to you guys for a while, or I just found you, and you're like and they just tell us how they connected with the music. And that means a lot, because like
Yeah.
even if I really enjoy someone's set, sometimes I'm too shy to go talk to them. So it means a lot when people come up to us at gigs, and we just meet a lot of cool friends as a result of being in this band, and it's really like enriched our lives. I like, no matter like where this goes, like playing these gigs and having these really memorable shows and like meeting amazing people it's been the best part. It's really hard to describe because
Right. Like
so much has happened, but
right. I've been listening to your friend Pulses a good bit. They're really good.
They're amazing. Yeah,
they're a really good band. I like them a lot.
love them.
I'm trying to get them on here too. I think I reached out to whatever their I think it was their drummer, I believe. He
Kevin.
reached out. Yeah, I think he
Another
reached out
Kevin,
to me.
yeah.
And I told him, I was like, hey, I'm doing an interview with Sierra. And he was like, let me see how that one goes, and then we'll see if we want to be on your podcast. I was like, all right, that's cool. That's fair.
Nice.
He's like, because she's our best friend, and we're going to see how that one goes. I was like, all right. So don't fuck this up, Zach.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah. But let's see here. Can you share a particular memorable or challenging live show experience?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. I got one. Because the thing is, like, we've been playing shows for like 8 years, so there's like so many different genres of bad experiences that you can encounter as a small band.
Right.
Here's a good example. So we played a gig in Houston last year, at the White Swan. Notoriously, I don't know if you heard about this incident, but this is where a hardcore band, like, they brought like a severed pig head to the gig, and they were just like chucking it around.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so that's the vibe
like
of the
some
place.
Ozzy Osbourne shit.
Yeah, so that gig was really rough because we were about halfway through the longest tour we've ever done, like pretty much 2 weeks. and it doesn't sound like a long time, but when you're roughing it in a van,
Right.
it can be really rough. So we went up there to set up, and the sound guy went missing. And according to my bandmates and people that were friends of ours at the gigs, he was doing meth outside the venue in between sets. And
Oh wow.
yeah, so he was, and like he like he I'm not gonna lie, he looked like he was on death's door, like like
Yeah.
he should not. Like, we were shocked that someone, like, was that old, like, doing sound at a gig. We were like, "This
Uh-huh.
can't this might go
Yeah,
real
like he's
bad."
not functioning, guys. Like get him out of here.
So, when he finally came back inside, it was 20 minutes after we set up on stage and we're ready to go.
Oh
So the
wow.
show was running very behind. And so he finally materializes from doing drugs outside, and he comes up to us and he starts asking you guys, like, how many inputs do we need, like, what's going on with the mic situation. And so I explained to him I have in-ears, and my setup is actually super fucking simple compared to what a lot of bands run, which is sometimes I'll have like a rack, and you got to
Right.
hook that up to the sound system in a very specific way that
Right, right.
we haven't figured out yet. It's literally just like I'm a single person on a single transmitter. You just need to hook up that one box into the board, and it's just so that I can hear myself. I don't need anything else. I explained this to him, and he was like, I don't think this is possible, but okay." And that's but like this is something that sound people do for me every night. Like, and I'm like,
Right.
I know it's possible because I just did the last like 10
Right.
nights, but okay, whatever. So he goes to the board and like he figured it out. So like we confirmed it was working, and then he was like, "Oh wait, I have to hook up the third mic. Let me come back up there." He unhooks my mic cable that we had just set up and like plugged it into another one, and then like uh swapped out for another cable. So he goes back to the board, and I was like, "Hey, I'm not getting anything in my ears anymore." And he was like, "Oh, well, I guess it's not working then. I guess there's nothing we can do." And I'm like, "Dude, all you had to do was switch the transmitter to my input or
Right.
whatever the
Like
hell
it's
you did
not
with the
that
cable."
hard.
Like, I could have. And Joe felt really bad because they were like, after the set, they were like, "Hey, I feel really bad because I realized that like that board that he was struggling with so much is the same one that we use at our practice space. I could have jumped in there." And I'm like, "It's okay."
You're like,
So
damn, I could have done this shit myself.
yeah. So like the reason why this is all really important is because my intonation can be really shoddy sometimes, and I need to be able to hear myself in
Right.
like really bad club environments. Like monitors and like hearing yourself in the room can be like a really different thing. Like
Right.
than like hearing yourself like right in your ear. And I do both. Like sometimes I'll take one ear out and keep the other ear
Mhm.
in, but that's just so that I have that context of everything.
Right. Right.
I still need me in my ear, and like I had to do the whole show without hearing myself essentially.
Right.
Sometimes like the monitors that go out to the room, you can hear yourself, and sometimes you cannot at
Right.
all, depending on the club and or the stage or this whatever the PA. So that was a really rough gig, and I was shocked that anyone. I'm really hard on myself. I was shocked that anyone bought merch after the fact because I thought I screwed up so badly, but like people seem to really enjoy themselves, so that is all that matters.
Yeah, that's all that matters right there.
Yeah.
And I saw y'all play it here in Atlanta at the Masquerade.
Yes.
Was that a shit show or no? Because I know some of their stages, you know, the smaller ones under Heaven, their sound system is just terrible.
Oh, I haven't heard that. To be honest, our situation was a little different.
Yeah.
So, what happened was it was just that the loading in was a little chaotic.
And what stage did y'all play?
We played Alter, which is the brand new one.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
That might be why the sound was probably good for y'all.
Yeah, so like the sound ended up going fine, but it was the setting up that was a little stressful because all three bands were sharing a back line, and one
Uh-huh.
of us were running late. So we did our best to like alert the staff and let them know, but it caused a little tension because of the schedule.
Right.
And the thing was like they had us all doing sound checks, and like so they were worried that like they still were adamant that they follow the schedule and get everyone's soundtracks, which is like totally fine. I understand. So it was tense the beginning of the night, especially because as a result doors open late. But after that, it was completely fine. And the stat there are awesome. We are very lucky to have gotten booked at the Masquerade. That was
Yeah, for sure.
huge get because in Atlanta, otherwise we've been playing art galleries for the
Mhm.
last 3 years. Or actually, technically, the first time we were in Atlanta was 2018. So like the last few times that we've played Atlanta were like small spaces.
I'll be there the next time y'all come through for sure.
Thank you.
I'll definitely be there because I'm dying to see y'all live. I love, like I said, the album. Y'all did a perfect job on that. Like I said, front to back was amazing. So I could
Thank
only
you.
imagine what it sounds like live.
I appreciate that.
Now, do you usually play the whole album live or no?
No, we haven't done that yet. We talked about doing it last year, but
Yeah.
it didn't pan out. And to be honest, we haven't learned the whole album, which is funny
Uh-huh.
to say. Like,
Yeah.
but a lot of the songs we learned just to track them, and then we were just like, okay, bye,
Mhm.
and haven't revisited. We'd like to do it one day, but it's been really hard to coordinate, and like we're also honestly trying to play our home area less.
Right.
And if we took it to the road, I don't know if that's like a big, like there's people who like fucking love us and they're everywhere, but they're super spread out. So it's like
Right.
I think it's a thing that we'll do like later down the line. And as far as like a touring situation, but we play as much of it as we can. Most of our set now is Infinite Void songs, and there's only
Yeah.
like we stopped playing older material except for Murder Mountain because like people love that one.
Yeah, that was
So
great.
we do our best to like still throw it in the set every now and then, but we've been really pushing Infinite Void. So that's been most of the set.
Now, for you being the lead singer, what are probably your favorite songs to perform?
Swear words, because I get to sing so much. Oblivion, I think that's a really cool song. I like
That is.
that's like so good. And then Catastrophe, that song is really like emotionally significant to me.
Right.
So that one feels like really cathartic to play live.
I love that.
Thanks.
That was great. Let's see. How do you prepare? How do you prepare for tours and live performances? I think I asked that, didn't I?
Nope.
I didn't ask that. Okay.
So leading up to tours, well, typically like a month before we'll start rehearsing the set, and then like the week of we'll run it twice, like meet twice to run it twice.
Mhm.
What's it called? We've in recent history had fill-ins who are like in other bands, and like one of the fill-ins that we've used or brought out on tours. Weird wording. One of the fill-ins that we brought out on tour, our buddies, lives in a different state. So, and the other person that we usually bring out, he's in another very busy band. So they'll learn the songs on their own, and then we won't get together with them until like 2 weeks before or like the week of.
Right.
And they just got to know it, and we have to like sort out anything that we need to sort out like before we leave, which is like because they're so professional and talented, it's worked out completely fine.
Right.
But we haven't announced her yet, but we do have a new drummer. So so now it'll go back to like, okay, like we'll start putting the set together a month in advance.
Right.
And then we'll drill it a little bit more like the week of.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, what is Asbury Park like? That's where y'all are from, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's like we're one of those bands where like we live all over the state, so like we just name a city that we play in relatively often as our home base, because like because then I'd have to say like, oh, I live in X city and Joe lives here, and like
exactly.
It's, we're really spread out across the state. But Asbury, so to speak, is like our music city. And what's really sad is like it used to belong to the punks, and like it was a lot more punk rock, but now it's turning into like I don't know. It's like when a city gets super gentrified, like
Mhm.
it was
Yeah.
already on its way there like a decade and a half ago, but like it's really ramped up lately. So a lot of the venues are like no longer or like uh the venues that exist are pay to play or like really hard to get into. So
Yeah.
to be quite honest, it's kind of weird right now.
So it's
um
not so much a DIY like type scene.
No, there are 2 or 3 venues that are very DIY friendly, but, the
Mhm.
others are like, um, they prefer to book, certain genres.
Right.
So screaming music is really it's really hard for us to get in there, and,
Right.
so, it's not super DIY friendly at the moment because 'cause you'd be hard
Mhm.
pressed to get into a lot of these venues unless you, like,
Right.
know somebody in the Asbury circuit. Just honest plain and honestly stating it, because like, I feel like people, like, really, like, want to play Asbury Park, and we do too, and we
Right.
get in when we can, but it's a lot harder to get in than it used to be, which is really unfortunate because it's such a nice town. It's like a
Right.
city by the sea, and it's you can walk it the whole thing in like a half hour.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
yeah, it's a really nice downtown. There's a lot of good food spots, but because of the gentrification and like the economy worsening, like a lot of aspects, similarly to how like other cities are struggling. Like it's some parts are getting a little worse, but when you can
I
get a
think
gig
that's
there,
every town though, you
I
know?
that's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah. But like when you can get in and you get a gig there, it's really cool.
Yeah, we have this, or we used to. We had a venue called Swayze's, and it was
I've heard of
like,
that spot. Yeah.
dude, it was awesome. Like, I would be like 12, 13 years old, and my mom would just drop me off and be like, "Hey, you're going to listen to some bands with your friends?" She'd be like, "Wait, hold up." She'd be like, "What's the age limit there?" I was like, "Mom, it's all ages." And she was like, "But y'all are sixth grade and seventh grade." I was like, "Yeah, it's all ages." She was like, "There's no alcohol, none of that." And I was like, "No." Meanwhile, there's kids in the back still smoking
Oh, I
cigarettes,
know. You're
older
always
kids,
gonna
and
have those kids
I was
no
like,
matter what.
"Mom, we're good." She's like, "But I see kids outside that look like they're 13 smoking cigarettes." I was like, "Mom, we're good. That's not me. I'm not part of that crowd." I was like, "Later in life, I'll become part of that crowd, but not now."
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I used to love it because it was all DIY type shit, you know.
Yeah.
And a bunch of my friends would always play. And like the first time I ever saw Hawthorne Heights was there. I was like
Nice.
13 years old, so that was cool. Who else did I see? I think I saw Escape the Fate back in the day when they had Ronnie Radke before all his shit went down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
unfortunately. I mean, I still like Ronnie's music. I don't know how much I like him as a person, but his music has always been great.
hmm. I
So, but,
remember like we used to go to a lot of VFW shows and fire hall shows,
right.
and like the scene was really thriving back in like 2010, 2011. But like things just started closing one by one, and then we were only left with like venues in Asbury or like established venues that are gone now.
Mhm.
I guess like over time, like fire halls and VFWs were like, actually, we don't want you throwing like 22-year-olds through drywall, so and merch tables. So I think we're good on this as a liability, but
Right.
it stinks because it's like we lost so much, and like now there's like even for younger bands, like I hate that for them that they didn't get to grow up with that thriving scene. It's a lot
Right.
it's thinned out now, I think.
Yeah, I feel like there's less outlets than there was for, when we were kids.
Even the
Like,
mall is dying. Like they don't even
exactly.
have the
Like,
mall to walk around. That
no,
was the
like,
quintessential teenager experience.
right. Like, I
Yeah.
used to love going to the mall with the homies, and like, we just sit in the food court for hours and just people watch. And we go in Hot Topic, and Hot Topic, our parents used to actually be kind of scared to go by because it looks so creepy on the outside. And now it just looks like a damn depressed child. Like, you walk by and
Yeah.
you're like, yo, Hot Topic's not cool anymore. You walk inside and they're playing like Justin Bieber. I was like, this is not rock music. Like, come on now. Like, go
Hmm.
back to when y'all are playing Pierce the Bell, like Sleeping with Sirens and shit like that. I want those
Yeah.
days back. But it is what it is. We lived them, so
Hmm.
we made it. I got a couple more questions for you, and then we'll get out of here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Got about 5 more.
No
That's okay
worries.
with you?
I'm in no rush.
All right. What advice would you give to emerging bands trying to make it in the industry?
Good question. I mean, like, depends on how much you want. But
Right.
the first thing I'd say, and like I said this earlier, is like prioritize finding bandmates who are motivated. They don't have to be perfect. I think you can grow together. I mean, I couldn't even scream when I started this band. Like, we have grown as musicians together with Sales Ahead. So I fully believe that prioritizing people who are on the same page as you is the most important thing, because things can come up, like life stuff, or like, if you're not aligned, if like some of you want to tour the world but the others don't,
Right.
it's not going to fall apart maybe now, but later down the line.
Right.
So
right.
like being completely aligned on what you want to do is the most important thing. And then after that, I would say, like, do things because you want to do them and not because you expect something in return. A lot of what the music industry is right now is like, some things and some relationships, and I don't conduct myself this way, but like some people do. Some people see their relationships in music as transactional. That is really bad. That is really bad, because like
It is.
you should befriend other bands and you should do things for others because you want to. And it's the right thing, but also because you want to do it. So build community and look out for people, or like show. Sometimes people will be like, "Oh, like I come out to your shows, you never come out to mine," and it's like,
Right.
well, I didn't ask you to do that.
Yeah,
So,
right.
and I'm just saying that as an example. It's like, some people are like that, some are not. Like, just do things because you love it and you enjoy it. Like put out what you would like to see in return, and just be nice to people. I think
Right.
a thing that I wish I could go back and tell myself is like, it turns out like a lot of stuff in like the industry is super, I hate to use the word political, but what I mean by that is like, oh, like if this agent doesn't like your band, like he's gonna make sure like you're not booked for anything.
Yeah, right.
And that's really ridiculous. Like, if a band is right for the opportunity, they should just get the opportunity. But I learned from like a friend, like he's like, yeah, man, it's like that. Like, a lot of people are really petty on the
They are.
inside who are in positions of power, and it's really ridiculous. So like, yeah, just like be kind to yourself and understand that like the opportunities you may not get have nothing to do with you. It might be the other person. So, and
That's
have fun. It's really important to have fun.
Right, I agree. That's like here in Atlanta, like our EDM scene is so big, and I
Yeah.
have a bunch of friends in the scene. I mean, I used to DJ myself, so
Nice.
I've met a lot of connections through that. But our scene has turned to shit, dude. Like, everybody wants to shit on one another, and they're like, "Oh, we're not gonna help you because you're making it here right now, and we're still down here." Instead of coming together so they can both be on an equal level, They're all just fighting each other, and they're all talking shit about one another. And I was like, "Yo, this is just toxic. Like, don't you want to help each other?" And then I got some friends, it's cool. I remember when they were only playing little venues in front of 50 people. Now I have a friend, Leah Culver. She's got a song with Marshmello. She's got a song with Adventure Club, Liquid Stranger, and she's
really
playing
cool.
in front of like 50,000 people. So when she comes back through Atlanta to her hometown, she always hits me up and she's like, "Hey, dude, you want to come to my show?" She's like, "I'll guest list you." I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I mean, you've been coming to my show when I was playing for 50 people." She's like, "Why not come out to a show that I'm playing in front of, thousands of people?" I was like,
Yeah.
You got a point. You got a point. I'm there. And then it's the same with my buddy. He goes by Drink Your Water, which his real name is Kevin Flunk, great artist. Every time he comes back in town, because he was one of our biggest local resident DJs, and he just moved, I think, to Los Angeles, I believe, to pursue more music career, which I'm proud of him. I mean, no disrespect to that. You got to follow what your heart tells you, in your dreams. So he moved out there, but every time he comes back in, he's like, "Yo," he's like, "You want to come to my show?" I was like, "Absolutely, dude.
Awesome.
I will be there." So pretty cool knowing people like that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. How do you navigate the business side of music, and what lessons have you learned along the way?
That's me. I'm the business guy in the band, unfortunately. I went to college for it, and I was really gung ho about us getting a lot of opportunities and like facilitating that myself when we started out. So I'm like, I'm the manager and the agent and the social media manager.
Right.
But it has its ups and downs, and like I actually encourage people to stay DIY and do as much of it as they can for as long as they can.
For
Because,
sure.
like, I think the worst thing you can do is like put your passion in the trust of somebody else, and then they just completely like they have bad intentions or they don't see it the way that you do. Um and like you just have more control over it creatively and professionally that way. So I advise people to like DIY it as long as you can. That's what we've done. And like sometimes I like especially when I'm like ripping my hair out, booking tours and sending emails, I would just love nothing more than for us to have an agent. I mean, like that's the thing. If I
Exactly.
could have somebody on like a team,
Right.
like that's the person I want first and the person I want the most. But it is cool to be able to say that okay, like we had this show on tour that sold 80 pre-sale and
Right.
I
And
facilitated
I
that
ran that
tours
shit.
ourselves.
Yeah.
Right. So it's good to have ownership of that.
Right.
So I would advise that. And also nothing is real until like you are there at the show and it's happening
Right.
or like
And
it's
it's written in
released
stone.
in the world and it's written even written in stone. We've had a lot of rugs ripped out from underneath us, so to speak, throughout the years. Like a lot of like missed opportunities that were revoked either like at the last second or just like petered out. And it's important to remember nothing is real until like so
Right. Right.
don't go blabbing to people. Like I made the mistake of blabbing to people about a feature I almost had. And just like keep your like just like because you don't want to jinx it, but also like it's another one of those like it has nothing to do with you, it's the
Right.
other
Right.
person, but like anything can change in the industry at any
I
time
agree.
and like with people, so you never know. So just keeping your wits about you and being careful for sure.
Great answer.
Thank
What
you.
are your long-term goals for the band, and how do you see your music evolving in the future?
So, long-term goals are to tour internationally. If we never get any bigger than this, at the very least, we want to do Japan and we want to do UK, Europe,
Yeah.
Canada. I mean, we want to go everywhere, but like, I know that we can do like. There's people who will facilitate us doing DIY tours in the UK and in Japan. So
I'm gonna link you with somebody that is from the UK that does DIY shows. I'm gonna link you with them, and maybe y'all can get yourself out there.
thank you. Yeah, like
I would love
honestly,
to
like
help you.
thank you. A lot of it, the reason why we haven't done West Coast especially is because money. So
Yeah.
like unfortunately, like at this point if we still do those things it's because we have to self-fund it.
Uh huh.
Um but those are big goals for us. I want us to make it long enough to make 3 full-length albums total. So we've got enough gas in the tank for like 2 more. And then the roadmap for With Sales Ahead is we're working on an EP right now that will come out either later this year or early next. Um and then it's going to be like a J-rock influenced EP, like some of our
Ooh.
lighter stuff. But after that, we're going to do a prog metal EP. And then after that, we will arrive to LP2, which will be somewhere in the middle and like mostly post-hardcore. And that one is going to be like super autobiographical. Like that will come out either next year or the year after that. It's really hard to say because Infinite Void took us
So
4
you're
years.
writing a story per se through albums.
I don't think that the EPs will be connected lyrically to the
Okay.
next LP. They won't be. But LP2 will be self-contained and like really personal. Because I have a lot of lyrics that I'm saving for it from like 2 years ago, purposely. So that is kind of where we're headed next. Maybe some singles in
Right.
between a split. But that is the general roadmap.
How do you overcome writer's block?
I force myself to write. That is a very new thing, because we want to start working faster. Like I mentioned, Infinite Void took us 4 years, and technically
Yeah.
6, because a lot of the songs on the record are actually 2 of the songs on the record are actually like 5 or 6 years old. So maybe even more than that.
Right.
We were just like, oh my god, we cannot take this long to put out new music anymore. So we are working as reasonably as fast as we can to get this next album out. I wanted to really finish all the lyrics, or as much of them as I could. The songs might change. Like a majority of the lyrics for this next EP are done because I forced myself to write. I have been trying to write to these songs. I tried to write to them all last year, waiting for inspiration to come, and it just was not happening. So when like January, I was like, I just got to sit down and do it. And they're actually not bad. Like,
no.
And I can always change them. It's not recorded and released yet, so there's time. But typically, like, if something like comes to me, I'm like if I'm like sitting at my work desk or like I'm out on a road trip, I'm like, oh, I'm writing this down now. Like I stop what I'm doing and I open my Notepad app. But sometimes I'm like running late on getting a demo done or like lyrics done, and I'm like, I gotta just sit down and do it, and I just loop that demo on repeat 200 times.
I like that. Okay, these are the final questions we got, and then I'll let you go on with your day.
Thank you.
If you could collaborate with any artist or band, who would it be and why?
Pulses. I used to really, I don't know, like I love collaborating with my best friends, to be honest. And at this point, like I'll be happy if those are the only people I collaborate with till besides my bandmates till the end of time.
Of course.
I think I can make something really cool with like Johnny Booth. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're a really sick metalcore band. I love to collaborate with like them and Silent Planet. I mean, I'd love to work with everybody and anybody within reason.
I think you and Grapevine Gossip would be the perfect blend. I really do. Just because when you go, like I said, with Spotify, it pairs y'all as like the most similar two bands. And I'm like, I know both of these bands. I was like, I'm gonna shout them out. Shout out Grapevine Gossip.
I appreciate that.
Guys. Yeah.
What's it called? Who else? Like Lynn Gunn from Paris. I don't know. Like I've like worked with a lot of different kinds of artists, so you know.
And I feel like it would be more fun to play alongside your best buds and whatnot, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I will say though, you said you're into EDM. I don't know if you're familiar with Hyper Potions, but that's like one of my favorite.
Very familiar.
That's one of my favorite artists. Period. They were a duo. The other guy had to be kicked out. But so it's just like a solo guy. So
is it house or no?
I actually, because I'm not really super well versed in like EDM, I couldn't tell you, but they mix. It's like a lot of, not even chiptune, but like it's definitely not house. Now that I think about it, they've done a lot of collaborations with like Sonic the Hedgehog. Like their song "Friends" or "Friendship" is like in the beginning of the Sonic movie. And they use a little bit of chiptune, but he doesn't use it like a ton.
Right.
But like I've been listening that electronic artist I've been listening to since 2017, and I want to feature on a song of theirs so badly. I cold emailed like, I really think we could make something cool together, and like.
Reach out to my girl Leah Culver. Like I said, she does all the what do you call it? She does all the EDM stuff, and she does a bunch of lyrics. Like she does the lyrics for Marshmello. She did the lyrics for Adventure Club and all them. And I feel like if you reached out to her, y'all could pair together and probably
that
make
would be
something,
awesome. Yeah. What was I going to say? That's actually Hyper Potion is actually why I know of Adventure Club, because I'm pretty sure they did a collaboration together. And Hyper Potion has also worked with Monster Cat, I think.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, so they've got like a bunch of different collabs. that would be like a really cool get. But otherwise, like I really love working with Pulses a ton.
All right, last two questions for you. What's your best advice you've ever received, and from who?
I'm gonna be 100%. I don't remember. I actually generally speaking, um, a lot of people have just told us to keep going, and like from like peers or like friends and like
Right.
or like people I look up to or like have connected with in music alike have just been like just like keep going, like because I don't know. I guess because if you think about it, like if you quit like now, then like you never know how good it could have gotten.
Right.
So I unfortunately like I don't have any like one piece of advice that I come back to a lot or like who that was from or what, but like
For
um
me, it would be something that my grandpa always told me before he passed away. He always told me, treat people with respect, treat them how you want to be treated, and don't look at them for, their color, their religion, their race, or whatever. He said, look at them as the person they portray themselves. If they're a good person and they treat you with respect, give them that same energy and respect back. And
yeah.
I've always lived by that. I think everybody deserves the respect that they give.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, last question. If you could play any venue or festival in the world, where would it be and why?
Madison Square Garden.
Yep.
I'm I used to be I used to be somebody who like undercut my uh desires and goals, like that's not possible, like whatever.
Right.
But like I would love to play Madison Square Garden. I just why not? Like that's the way I see
Right.
things now. Like why not?
Well, my dad's from the Bronx, and he says there's nothing like MSG. He said MSG is like one of the greatest venues you could go
Oh
to
yeah.
for anything, whether it be music, boxing matches, basketball with the Knicks, or hockey games with the Rangers. He said anything you go to there, you're gonna have a great time.
Yeah.
So it's
I
on my
saw
bucket list. I've never been to New York, so gonna
Oh,
have
you
to
gotta
make it
come
one
up.
day. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw Childish Gambino, which was on what was supposed to be his farewell tour, his final tour ever, back in
Yeah.
like 2016 or 2017. He was like, "This is the last one," so I was like, "I gotta get tickets and go."
Right. They
But
always do shit like that just to make people buy tickets, I
I
think.
know, and it's okay. Get your bag, dude.
Yeah, it works.
I really would have gone this last time around if I wasn't out of a job at the time. I would have said fuck it. I would have been like, I'll go. Like, yeah,
Yes,
but
ma'am.
yes, yeah, MSG.
Well, Sierra, that is all the questions I have for today. I do appreciate your time and thank you for joining Chords and Chaos.
Thank you, Zach. I appreciate it. You as
Yes,
well.
ma'am. And I look forward to listening to the CD.
Yes, we'll get that
I
to
did
you
send
right
you the
away.
address, right?
Yes, you did. I
Okay,
just gotta,
cool.
gotta get everybody together to sign it, which will be soon.
Okay. No worries. Whenever you can.
You got it.
I appreciate your time and you have a blessed day.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Okay.
ma'am. You have a good one.
Bye. You too.
Later. Thank you, everyone, for joining in today to Chords and Chaos. Stay tuned for next week. We will have Grapevine Gossip. They are another great band. And hope everybody that tuned in today has a great day. Stay blessed, fam. Peace.